Well, hey folks, Benthelooney here. Woo-wee, I'm glad I stopped myself because I started the video and forgot to hit record on my microphone. Oh boy, that would have made me a very unhappy camper. But anyway, it's getting close to New Year's and around Christmas time, so you know what that means. Time for the 2018 year-end review. I was watching my 2017 one with my buddy last year, and he pointed out that it was a tad sad. And he was right. It was a tad depressing. That's only because a lot of stuff happened last year, and I just wanted to talk about it, and I guess a lot of sad stuff happened this year. And I didn't wait to add some good stuff until the last bit, but that's going to be different this year. This year, we're going to look at the best of animation of 2018. A lot of animation has come out this year, whether it be TV shows or movies, and I got a lot I want to talk about. And I've come prepared. I got some references for some characters ready, and I got a list of the shows and movies I wanted to talk about. So why don't I quit yapping and continue yapping? Let's get right to it. So I think we'll start off with Netflix. I mean, Netflix has... Drop my pen. Okay, so Netflix has been all kinds of crazy when it comes to animation. They've been putting a lot of stuff out, which I can understand. I think I read they make like 17 billion a year, so hey, I'm all for them making some new cartoons. And one of them happens to be Super Drags. Now what's interesting about Super Drags, it's basically an English dub of a Brazilian cartoon about these three blue-collar workers, or retail workers, who dress in drag to become superheroes. And you know, me being bisexual, you think this would be something up my alley. And for the most part, it's not bad. It's definitely a little raunchy at times, and I know that it got a lot of negative attention from people who thought it was just another adult cartoon that was appealing to the lowest common denominator. But I read a Tumblr post of somebody who lives in Brazil, and basically how yeah, it gets, this rabbit hole is deep, folks. Apparently, with Brazil's new conservative president who's been elected, gay people in Brazil are starting to get a lot more persecuted. And the show is basically a form of rebellion against this new movement. I have the post saved, so I'll post it up in the video. But yeah, I mean, wow, that kind of adds some new significance to the show, doesn't it? I mean, wow. Well, surely after reading that, I can't get myself to hate this show if it has good intentions. I mean, it's sad in a world where we're trying to progress that gay people and other... I mean, it's much better over here in the United States than it has been, but in other countries, gay people don't get the equal treatment that we take for granted. You know, that's a really big issue, and we can only hope that things get better, and it's like nobody gets hurt at trying to get equal rights. So yeah, as for Super Drags, it's okay. It's not something I'd watch over and over again, but I'm glad I saw it. I like the show's unique visual style. It's definitely bright and colorful, and the humor, while lowbrow at times, it's college dorm room humor. It's harmless. It's innocent. You can't really fault it or anything like that. So yeah, Super Drags. If you're interested, check it out, and if you think it'll help with getting Brazil, with gay people more accepted in Brazil, then by all means, I encourage you to support it. And then next on the Netflix spectrum, we got Shira and the Princess of Power. I remember when the internet was basically going all crazy over this show because I don't know why, because apparently Shira looks like a man. I don't see it. I mean, yeah, she doesn't look like a typical girly, big-breasted girly girl, but, I mean, not all women have to look the same. I mean, come on. Maybe it was just some of those... maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was just one of those things where the internet was freaking out over a girl cartoon because apparently hating women is the thing to do nowadays. But, so yeah, I've been watching some of this, and I really enjoy it. It's got a, there is a recent trend in rebooting toy commercial cartoons from the 80s and making them actual cartoons. I know, right? Who would have guessed? But, so yeah, I like the show because it's got kind of an Avatar: The Last Airbender feel to it. There's a war going on, there's some good character drama, and yeah, it's like, I can't wait to see more of it. I've seen like 4 episodes, I believe, and so far so good, I'd say. It's definitely a show I want to keep up with to see where it goes. And yeah, I like the characters, and I like how, unlike in the 80s cartoon, they don't all have the same body types because they're made to sell action figures. Some of them actually do have some unique body types, like the magician. She's chubby. It's like, yeah, that's one thing. You don't see a lot of positive chubby characters that much in cartoons nowadays, especially in action cartoons. And so it's good that they're starting to expand their horizons a bit and have some more diversity. And yeah, I could see some people might complain, oh, that's just saying that fat acceptance is okay. But no, it's like, she's a healthy weight. I mean, what is it with people complain about little things nowadays? Must have been ahead of my time when I ranted on little kid cartoons and complained about stuff that didn't even matter. But anyway, yeah, Shira. It's like, it's a really great show. Well, I wouldn't exactly call it great, but it's definitely a lot better than it needed to be. So, and once again, the show's visual style is very unique, and the action, yeah, I've seen better, but you know, it's like, if it's a success, the season 2 can only get better. So yeah, I recommend Shira if you guys like cartoons where chicks kick ass. Alright, what's next over here? Ooh, this is one I've been wanting to talk about. So Matt Groening, being the talented guy he is, he created after over 30 years of being in the animation industry, he finally created his third show, Disenchantment. Think of Futurama if it took place in a fantasy world. Because with Futurama, he parodied sci-fi, and now with Disenchantment, he parodies fantasy. And you know, being a fantasy fan, I eat it all up. I've always been a fan of fantasy. It's like monsters, warlords, witches, and magicians, magic, and all that stuff. It's like, it's good to finally see Matt Groening take on the genre. I didn't even expect it. I didn't know he was working on a third show, but here it is. And yeah, where Futurama left off, Disenchantment picked up the ball, and it's kind of sad because a lot of people aren't giving it a lot of love. And it's like, as a Matt Groening fan, I love it just fine. I mean, sure, and I mean, it's not the best, but at the same time, I point out that Futurama in its first season, it didn't get off to the highest start. A lot of those episodes were pretty. A lot of those episodes, yeah, basically the first season of Futurama, it got off to a slow start, but it got better over time. And basically, I think Disenchantment's gonna be the same thing. It's like, it only has the potential to improve, and I'm looking forward to new episodes. And it's like, I think it's going to be in the next big cult following that Groening has. And I especially love the voice cast, because a lot of Futurama and Simpsons voice actors return, like Tress MacNeille, John DiMaggio, Maurice LaMarche, and I'm forgetting one. It's going to tick me off, but yeah, just, you can look it up. You know what I'm talking about. But and they're joined by some new characters, especially my favorite being Eric Andre voicing a demon who follows the main character around. Yeah, I love the show. Like, I mean, it's sad to see that a lot of people aren't catching on to it, but you know, I think it has potential to grow. And as a Simpsons Futurama and Matt Groening fan, I highly recommend it, folks. So check out Disenchantment. Okay, what's next? Agretsuko. I really hope I pronounced that right. I'm really bad at Japanese names. And so yeah, this was an anime exclusive to Netflix. And what was cool about this show is how relatable it is, because I started my full-time job around the time I got into this show, and I can relate so much to the Roscoe, this little red panda, and the struggle she goes through. And I'm really having trouble with this Shira drawing, so I'm just going to move on. So basically, this show is basically like Office Space. Think of if Office Space made Animal Crossing, because it stars these animals who work in an office building, and they dang nab hiccups. And they basically just go through the struggles of working in a 9-to-5 job. And this red panda, Roscoe, finds solace in singing heavy or death metal music. So, as a metal fan, that's a nice little touch that I like. And yeah, what's cool about this show is that it's only 15 minutes an episode, so it doesn't take you too long. You can watch 2 episodes in the time it would take you to watch a half-hour TV show, including the commercials. And there's only 10 episodes, so it shouldn't take you that long to watch. And they say there's going to be another season, but that remains to be seen. But other than that, I managed to watch Agretsuko all the way through. And yeah, it was a nice little anime that I enjoyed. It's doggone it. It's like, may not be my new favorite anime, but yeah, I definitely really could relate to it. I love the characters. I got a good laugh out of it, and it's like, if you guys haven't already, I highly recommend it as well. Alright, what's next? Okay, getting into the animated movies. How appropriate, because I'm drawing Violet right now. We got Incredibles 2. After 14 years of waiting for an Incredibles sequel, we finally got it. And yeah, I remember the internet loving it at first, but then as the hype died down, people started to be a little more cynical towards it, and as the internet does. But I'm sorry, I can't agree with them. I really enjoyed Incredibles 2, and in a lot of ways, I like it better than the first one. It's like, it focuses on Helen Parr instead of Bob for this one, which is a nice change of pace, because hey, it's called The Incredibles. It's not just Bob; it's all the other characters. So why should he be the only one that gets to do stuff? And I think I can see why a lot of people didn't like it. Girl power, blah blah. It's like, people, shut up. Here, do me a favor, watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, thank you. Now. Either get laid or jerk off and go on with your lives. Okay, sorry, mini rant over. But yeah, what I liked about this one is, it's like, there were a lot of more twists and turns along the way, and it does have that twist villain cliche that I'm sick of, but I don't know, for some reason it didn't really bother me, because I don't think it came out of nowhere exactly, because the character did imply intentions basically in the scenes leading up to the reveal. So yeah, it's not one of those things where you have to be reintroduced to a character. It took its time, and it kind of made sense. It did make sense. But what really sold Incredibles 2 for me was the friggin' action scenes. They really stepped up their game in this movie. Holy crap! It makes you wonder the possibility that we have for animated action movies here in America, because you can pretty much do anything you want in animation. You don't need stuntmen. You don't need special effects. Okay, maybe you do these special effects if it's animation, but at the same time, yeah, the sky's the limit when it comes to animated action movies. And they kind of did do something like that later this year, but we'll get to that. So yeah, Incredibles 2. It was the movie that inspired me to make my my Pixar review of all the Pixar movies I've seen. And you know, I'm glad I got back into Pixar at this time, because I'm glad I got to see this in theaters on a big screen with able to see all the animation in its glory. But Incredibles 2, it's like, I can see why people wouldn't think it's as good as the first one, but at the same time, I had a lot of fun with it. And I hope it doesn't take Brad Bird too long to make a sequel, because there's definitely a lot more potential now that new superheroes have been introduced in the series. So yeah, Incredibles 2, guys. It's like, I highly recommend it. Alrighty, what we got next? Where'd you go? Okay. Ralph Breaks the Internet. So I watched the first one leading up to Ralph Breaks the Internet, and I'm kind of glad I did, because sorry to say, it did kind of hinder my enjoyment of the second one. When did Ralph become a friggin' idiot and make a lot of dumb decisions? He wasn't like that in the first one. And and you know, it's like, actually I think that was my only nip. Oh yeah, that was another thing. It's like, what was the point of having Felix and whatever Jane Lynch's character name is? What was the point of having them in the movie if they weren't going to do much? I mean, it was nice to have them back, but at the same time, what do we do? It's like they adopt a bunch of the Sugar Rush kids, but we never see them taking care of them. It's like, it would have been interesting to see them cut back and see what was going on, but at the same time, it's like, I could see why that would distract from the story. But that being said, I had a lot of fun with Ralph Breaks the Internet. I mean, I remember when people were complaining that it's going to be the Emoji Movie 2 or stuff like that, but I'm like, people, come on, it's Disney. They're not going to do that. I think we can expect a lot more standards from Disney, you know. But yeah, obviously, I'm sure everybody's favorite part is when Vanellope mates the princesses, and it's like all the princesses have their own unique personalities that bounce off each other. And, you know, it was nice seeing the princesses in a casual setting and in a modern setting. And, yeah, I got a really good kick out of that. As a big Disney fan and Disney princess fan, it's like, okay, I still don't get why Mulan is considered a Disney princess. She's not a princess, and if anything, I think that pretty much demeans the whole point of her character. She's a war hero. She was never a princess, so why do you keep friggin' putting her in things? I mean, it's nice to include her and all, but it just doesn't make any sense. So if anybody has an explanation for me, I'm all ears. But yeah, there are other parts of Ralph Breaks the Internet I loved. Like, I loved its portrayal of the internet, like, as this big massive world where each website is a different city, and it's like how people visiting the internet are represented by these little me-like things. That was pretty unique. and yeah, it's like, as an internet star myself, and I could relate a lot to all the stuff that was in it. Well, like I said, there's some character inconsistencies and some little things here and there, but yeah, I do like the first one better, but I don't think the sequel is bad or anything. It's a good time. You can spend an hour and a half on worse stuff, but as far as Disney sequels go, considering how a majority of them were direct to DVD and pretty bad, I think we got it pretty good with this one. We got off easy. So, Ralph Breaks the Internet. Not as good as the first, but at the same time, not a bad time either. Alrighty, what we got next? Big City Greens. So, Disney finally came around and made a new cartoon, and, Lee, gasp, it's about country folk. You guys don't understand, like, do you realize how rare cartoons that take place in the country or about country folk are nowadays? I mean, come on, let's break this down. What do we got? King of the Hill? King of the Hill? That's about it. But no, here comes Big City Greens that's meant to portray country folk in a more positive way. Because it seems that every time rednecks are in a... Because it seems every time country folk are portrayed in cartoons, they're always the dumb, redneck, low-intelligence stereotype. Which I don't mind. I think it's pretty funny, but at the same time, it's nice to have some balance once in a while. So yeah, Big City Greens. This is a show I haven't had a chance to watch too much of because I'm slowly but surely trying to get rid of cable. But I really enjoy it. It's a cute little show. It's not Gravity Falls or Star vs. the Force of Evil levels of engagement, epic storytelling, but it's not meant to be. I think the best way to put it is it's a good Disney Channel sitcom that happens to be animated. And yeah, that's pretty much what it is, because it's about these country folk. They live in the city now, and it basically follows them trying to adapt to big city life, which is pretty interesting. and it offers some really funny storylines. And I know my favorite character, Tilly Green. She's not the typical goofy little sister. She's pretty much she pretty much exists in her own little world and says some pretty crazy things. It's like one example I like is, I stared in the face of danger and I loved it. That's pretty, I don't know, there's just something about her that's pretty unique, and I really enjoy her. So yeah, it's pretty much what I gotta say. It's a cute little slice of life cartoon that takes place in the city, following a bunch of country folk. And I hope it's a big success for Disney, because now that they're starting to put their new cartoons on a Disney Channel instead of Disney XD, it has the potential to start a new renaissance for the channel and get the animation department back up and going, which I'm all for, because hey, it's not like Walt Disney made a name for himself with animation or something. So yeah, Big City Greens. If you haven't seen it, it's like, tell me what you think and check it out. Or check it out and then tell me what you think. Can't do one before the other. I got into the Hotel Transylvania movies earlier this year, and yeah, it's like I've been meaning to see him for the longest time, because I knew Genndy Dexter's Laboratory creator created him, and I was curious to see how he would handle 3D animation. And basically, he turned 3D animation on its ear and introduced a more cartoony way of doing 3D animation. And you could say that Clay with a Chance of Meatballs started that, but Genndy pretty much perfected it. So I ended up seeing the Hotel Transylvania movies for the first time this year, and I finally saw the third one, and yeah, I think it's an example of a perfect franchise. Like, not only are all the movies great, but they just get better and better. And Hotel Transylvania 3, I can see why people would think it's the best one of the three, because I think that is. Because what's great about the Hotel Transylvania movies is they really don't follow all the kids movie cliches we get nowadays. I mean, there's some there, but at the same time, they're not formulaic or anything like that. They definitely play around with their ideas and have fun to be creative, on top of telling a story. And the stories themselves are pretty engaging, and the characters are great to get attached to and see what happens to them. But what really steals the show is the animation, and yeah, it's some of the best modern animation I've seen in a long time. Like, best 3D animation I've seen, most definitely. And I mean, I'm a visual guy myself. Like, I know they say I always get this phrase mixed up. They say that good art can't save a bad story, but they say that bad art can be saved by a good story, but a bad story can't be saved by good art. In a lot of ways, that's true. If people aren't engaged with characters or a story, then obviously it's not going to be very good. But I'm a visual person, and I find myself enjoying movies more for the visuals rather than the story because considering I'm mostly drawing or working on stuff when I have movies playing, I have a hard time paying attention to stories. I know I suck, but that's what happens when you're a workaholic. So it's good to have some movies that have stories, or it's good to have movies where I mostly focus on the visuals rather than the storylines. And the Hotel Transylvania movies are an example of that. Not knocking the stories or the characters or anything, but what really wins it for me is the animation. And if this is the last one in the series, I'm all for it because Genndy has ideas to do some original ideas for Sony Pictures, and I wish him the best. I think he's gonna be very successful at that. So Hotel Transylvania 3, a great way to kick off a series, and I look forward to seeing what Genndy has in store in the future. Alrighty. Isle of Dogs. Alright. This one kind of flew under everybody's radar, which is such a shame because it's one of the best animated movies that came out this year. So, we all know Wes Anderson. He's the director of such classics as Rushmore, Bottle Rocket, The Royal Tenenbaums, and The Grand Budapest Hotel, Moonrise Kingdom. But probably my favorite movie he's done is The Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was stop-motion animated. And I think his style of humor and his style of storytelling worked well for stop-motion animation, and I was eagerly awaiting him to make something, a new live or stop-motion movie, and we finally got it. Isle of Dogs is it's like Wes Anderson's movies. It's got a unique storyline where a little Japanese boy ends up on an island of dogs where dogs are isolated from society because of a disease that's spreading amongst them. And a little Japanese boy ends up on the island looking for his lost dog. And the story just unravels from there. And yeah, basically it's a Wes Anderson movie. The highlights are the deadpan humor and the characters bickering off of each other. And the story itself is pretty unique. And alright, still good here. And basically it's just one of those movies that flew under everybody's radar but has the potential to be a cult hit later on, and heck, I think it deserves an Academy Award nomination. It's probably ain't gonna win it, but it doesn't hurt to dream. And it's as me being the visual guy, Wes Anderson has some of the most beautiful looking animated movies because he uses a lot of symmetry, and it's always fun watching shots where he tries to make the shots look symmetrical. And it's kind of weird because it's not that weird, but anyway. But yeah, it's I remember Stanley Kubrick. He was a director who liked to use a lot of symmetry because he worked as a photographer, so he knew how to frame a shot to make it look very appealing. And Wes Anderson pretty much keeps that kind of style of filmmaking alive, and I really like it. It makes it's easy on the eyes, and it makes it easier to see what's the focal point and all that, and just read the poses and all that stuff. But enough about that. It's Isle of Dogs. It's even got an all-star voice cast, and half the fun is trying to figure out who voices what dog or what character. It's kind of a shame it wasn't that big of a box office hit, but hopefully it gets the attention and respect it deserves because I think it deserves it. So, you guys like Isle? If you guys like Wes Anderson movies or you like Fantastic Mr. Fox, then Isle of Dogs is definitely the spiritual successor to that. So, yeah, go watch it. Alright, I think we're getting the home stretch here. I'll save that one for last, but yeah, I went to go see Into the SpiderVerse Sunday after all the hype, and holy crap, people are going bananas over this movie, and there's a reason for it because this movie is friggin' amazing. Yeah, I'm not even joking. I don't even know where to start with it. Okay, I guess the easiest way to do it is, how the Lego Batman movie is like a funny and lighthearted look at the Batman franchise. Well, I think Into the Spideyverse is pretty much that same thing for Spider-Man, and granted it's more dramatic than Lego Batman movie is, and yeah, some really great storytelling in this one. But what really... Oh, I'm out of breath just thinking about it. But, yeah, it's... Remember when I said that animation has the potential to make great action films? Well, this movie pretty much solidifies that feeling of mine, because holy smoly, it was flat out amazing. It's like, the action scenes, holy crap. Diving into animation, I cannot even imagine how long a lot of these scenes took and how much effort they put into it, but yeah, it's like action scenes, they're really hard to get right. You gotta make sure that characters have a lot of weight to them. You gotta make sure they don't go by too fast so people know what's going on, but at the same time you don't want them to be boring either. And this movie just is pretty much perfection in every sense of the word, and it's like, I love the characters. Like, I liked Miles Morales as Spider-Man because, you know, me being a big Spider-Man fan, I never even knew that Spider-Man became a new character, was portrayed by a new character instead of Peter Parker. But I don't care, it's a nice change of pace. I like seeing a different person with a different personality take on the role of Spider-Man. That's to say that Peter Parker isn't in these movies and isn't in this movie. And in fact, that's why it's called Into the Spider-Verse, because it's got all kinds of different spider people in it. And I'm sure you saw from the trailer, but yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but you're definitely in for a treat meeting all these new characters. And being a film noir fan, I really love Spider-Man Noir, because black and white is friggin' amazing. It's like, fight me. And I had no idea that was Nicolas Cage voicing that character. You don't even friggin' recognize him. He does such a good job. I'm in amazement here. But and another thing about this movie is, like, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you can understand a lot of who the characters are and everything. But even if you're not a Spider-Man fan, it does a good job of getting you what you need to know and basically just taking you along for the ride. And I like seeing some Spider-Man villains we haven't had the chance to see in movies yet. Like, we got Scorpion, Kingpin is the main villain. It's like Kingpin finally makes his appearance in the Spider-Man franchise. And there's even a surprise villain that pops up. I don't want to give it away, but I definitely didn't see it coming. And you probably won't see it coming either, unless you read the comics, which I didn't, so yeah, have fun with that. So yeah, it's like, I cannot stop talking about Into the Spider-Verse. You probably heard the internet praise it to death, and I don't want to overhype it myself, but if you haven't seen it, you really should do yourself a favor and see it, because I like the potential of more animated, theatrical animated movies based off of superheroes. Because think of all the potential we got on that, folks. It's like, let's make it happen. Let's make this movie a success. Let's do this for other Marvel characters, and hell, maybe DC will do their own thing. And oh my god, I'm so excited for the future. I cannot wait to see what brings this. It's like Spider-Verse, go see it. And last but not least, the character I'm drawing now, we have Hilda. So Netflix once again throws their hat in the ring to animation to become a really good competitor to Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Disney Channel. Whoa boy, Hilda was a show that I was inspired to watch when somebody commissioned me to draw Hilda's mom for Inktober, and I've eventually got myself to watch it, and I am so glad I did, because I love this show. I adore it. It's like where Gravity Falls left off, Hilda picks it up. It's like, yeah, think of British Gravity Falls. That's pretty much the best way to describe it. It's like it's contemporary fantasy about a little British girl who moves into a new city and basically has to calm down all the supernatural forces that are there and all that stuff. And she meets new friends along the way, and it's an all-around good time. It's so innocent, and it's so innocent. The characters are so well written. It's like the humor. It's it's not joke a minute. It's not the forceful joke a minute kids cartoon. It takes its time for the humor to show up when it needs to, and when the humor finally does hit, it hits really hard, and I love it. And it's pretty, and I think it's pretty unique for a cartoon, because how many cartoons are there where a single parent is the one taking care of a kid? It's like, I can't think of many, but yeah, Hilda's pretty innovative in that sense. It's like, I know there have been some in the past, but you really don't see much of them nowadays, so yeah, that's a nice break of pig from the usual kid and her parents cartoon. And basically, it's like the art style is fantastic. Like, it's got that simple Adventure Time style, but it's perfected in this. It's like all the environments look beautiful, all the characters look really fleshed out. All the colors are nice, and the colors aren't too saturated. I don't know how to describe it, but they're easy on the eyes. They really don't burn your eyes with intensity or anything like that. They feel natural. They feel perfect. I can go on and on about this show, but yeah, it's like I binge watched the first 13. I binge watched the first season in like a couple of days. I was so obsessed with it. And I'm definitely looking forward to a new season, and I hope this show lasts for a long, long time, because I love it. It's basically, you know, not knocking Adventure Time or anything. I really enjoy Adventure Time. Well, okay, it's not my cup of tea, but one of my main problems was that it's like the main characters, Finn and Jake, I didn't think they were that interesting. I wasn't engaged by them. It's like it was the world around them that I liked, but it's like, and I like the creativity, but Finn and Jake just ruined it for me. But not with this show. It's like I love all the characters. Like, they're not annoying or anything. It's like the kids in this cartoon feel like kids. The adults feel like adults. It's like I don't know how they did it, but it works so well. And yeah, it's like, I love the show so much, it's become one of my new favorite cartoons ever, just on its first season alone. And yeah, that's pretty rare, especially because I'm starting to worry, because as I get older, a lot of the cartoons I grew up with, I'm starting to not like that much anymore. Like, all the kids' cartoons I grew up with, I just don't think they age very well, and that was disheartening. I thought I was just getting older, and that kids' cartoons just can't fascinate me or engage me anymore, and I just gotta stick to adult shows like BoJack Horseman or Archer. But no, Hilda proved me wrong on that department. Hilda proved me wrong. It's like, it's as tame can be, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be too edgy or too dark to be good. It just has to be Hilda. It just has to be down to earth and engaging and just lighthearted, and it just works. I don't know how they do it, but I love it, and I think you guys would love it too. So if you're a fan of fantasy shows, you're a fan of Adventure Time, you're a fan of Gravity Falls, you're a fan of modern day kid shows in general, then this is right up your alley, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's got the Benthelooney stamp of approval, and it's like, man, I wish this show was out when I was still doing full-blown reviews of the cartoons, because I would have gone all out and praised the hell out of it. But, you know, I don't want to overhype it. I think the show speaks for itself, and I can only do so much with words, so check it out, folks. So, that about wraps it up for this year in terms of animation. I haven't had the chance to see everything. I really wanted to see Aardman Animation's new animated movie that came out earlier this year, because I'm a big fan of Aardman. And Harvey Street Kids, that was a cartoon on Netflix that's wholesome and everything. I watched a couple episodes, but not enough to give a full-blown opinion on it. Yeah, and there's other, and you know, all the other little animated shows and movies I missed out on. But this is pretty much the rough batch of what I saw, and yeah, I hope I introduced you guys to some new shows to watch. And if not, I hope you enjoyed hearing my opinions on a show you might love, and I'm really looking forward to 2019. There's a lot of good stuff coming out, and there's a lot of good stuff coming out, like the fact that a new Godzilla movie is coming out in 2019, that alone makes me look forward to it. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what animated movies or TV shows come out in 2019, or what cartoons we got now continuing, and see where they take their ideas, concepts, and characters. And it's a good time to be alive, folks. And as always, stay loony, my friends.
Strength. Ain't nobody man enough to feel the pain. And you could be next. You better give respect. 'Cause ain't